Morgen oder guten Tag. Mein Name ist Gisela Siebo und nun habe ich die große Freude, Ihnen Jamal Juma'a vorzustellen. Ich kenne Jamal seit langer Zeit. Er war schon öfter in Deutschland. Ich habe ihn schon oft reden hören. Sie werden sehen, dass es spannend ist. Er spricht Englisch und es wird simultan gedolmetscht. Und zu Jamal selber: Seine aktive Zeit begann in der Zeit der ersten Intifada. Somit gehört er zu dem, was man die Generation erste Intifada nennt. Er ist ein Mitbegründer der NGO Stop the Wall, eine Grassroot-Organisation eben gegen den Bau der Mauer. Stop the Wall gibt regelmäßig auch Newsletters raus auf Englisch. Für den Fall, dass jemand daran interessiert ist, können Sie sich sicher an ihn wenden oder auch an mich. Ich könnte das weitergeben. Er ist ebenfalls ein Mitbegründer der BDS-Bewegung und ist Mitglied des Sekretariats des BNC. Das ist BDS National Committee. Auf internationaler Ebene ist er ebenfalls tätig. Er ist in dem internationalen Komitee auch der Weltsozialforen und innerhalb dieses Sekretariats der Weltsozialforen spricht man eben über die Fortschritte, die die einzelnen Bewegungen machen und über deren Aktivitäten. Und nun hat Jamal das Wort.
Thank you very much, Gisela. Thank you all for attending here this conference, using your time and your holiday. And I want also to thank Her Excellency Khulud for being with us here. I'm happy to meet her here as well. And special thanks, and we have to salute together KOPI for this excellent work that they were doing to make this conference happen. Yeah, I'm here to talk about the popular resistance movement, and this is something big beyond my capacity to talk about it. It's an effort of a people since a century to keep steadfast standing and resisting different colonizations. This year is very significant, but doesn't mean the other year is not. I don't know what's the difference between 50 years of the occupation and 49 years of the occupation. But anyway, like here we are talking this year about a century of the Balfour Declaration, the start of the Palestinian catastrophe. We are talking about 48. We are talking about 70 years of diaspora, suffering, expulsion, continuous suffering for generations away from their homeland. We are talking about ongoing ethnic cleansing. I'm going to talk about it in the Negev, the Galilee, the Triangle. That's still going on. Racism has become very high up against them in their own country. We are talking about 50 years, half a century of colonizing the West Bank, and it's still going on. Numbers, if you talk about numbers in this 50 years, it's something shocking. I'm telling you, over 900,000 Palestinians have been in prison in the last 50 years. In the last 17 years, just, we are talking about 16,000 women were in the prison. Talking about 15,000 children from 12 to 18 years were in the prison. We are talking about 50,000 Palestinians who were in the detention. We are talking worse than that, about the shrinking of the Palestinian places in their land in the West Bank. Blocks of settlements is controlling the Palestinian resources. Apartheid system, very advanced colonial apartheid system that we never think of. and we never think of that we are going to face in the 21st century, is there now in our land. And the catastrophe is Gaza. 10 years of squeezing Gaza, smashing Gaza. According to the international organization reports, Gaza is not going to be suitable for the life of the people in 2 years. You know what does it mean? The water is contaminated. Simply if you know that in the last 10 years, Israel digged 36 artesian wells on the border of Gaza to pump the water that comes from the slopes of the West Bank toward Gaza Strip. So they take the water from there. And that's enough by itself to make the people, the life there is unbearable. Can't be. And you know the siege, I'm not going to talk in details about Gaza, but I'm talking about what's coming, just like I want to hint that prepare yourself to campaign for rescue the people of Gaza. If the coalition of Trump, Saudi Arabia continue now in their plans of put more siege in Gaza, more than what's happening now. So we have to prepare ourselves for this coming time. So we are talking, if we describe what we are going through since 100 years, the best description for this is that we are facing a settler colonialism ideology. That meant, as you saw in the map of KOPI, that meant it's just like to keep pushing the people out of their land and replace it with another people. I'm not just going to talk about all these Zionist colonial plans, I'm going to take part of it, which is supposed to be, at the time we are thinking of peace. During Oslo, where all the Palestinians will be happy, well, we're happy that, okay, here is the time where we get our freedom, and maybe finally we get peace. But look what was going on behind the scene. And this is what I'm going to talk about now from strategies, what we are seeing it obviously vivid on the ground today. They called it the Israeli vision in the 2025. They started it in 1992. And look at the date, 1992, a year after the Madrid conference, where the whole peace talks and peace process supposedly started. After 1 year, 2 years of the falling of the Soviet Union, after 1 year of the destruction of Iraq, which is one of the were like incitement against Iraq. So this is the world has been changing. So they start re-strategizing. It's a massive. It's very interesting to see this mentality when I'm talking about settler colonial mentality, regardless what would happen and what the attempts to have these. They gathered 250 of their scientists from all fields. They contracted 30 most important research centers around the world. And they asked them to write two scenarios of the future of Israel in case of peace and case of war. What came out of this, the first draft in 1997, with 18 volumes, the volume about Jerusalem located in 9,000 pages. All these plans has been presented in one of the most Zionist conferences since Basel. It's Herzliya Conference in 2001, where they launched all these plans. So, what came out from all this plan concerning the Palestinians are 4 plans. And look at what the 4 plans are about. The first 2 important things about the Palestinians inside Israel. It means those who have Israeli citizenship that's supposed to be equal. They do 2 main projects. One called Galilee Development, which is Judaization. Judaize Galilee, simply because they find out that the Palestinians in Galilee are 52%. The whole plan is about to decrease the number of the Palestinians to 38%. Negev, they are talking about a plan worse than what happened to the Native Americans, collecting 100,000 Bedouins from their historical land in the Negev and concentrate them, I'm quoting their own words, concentrating them in 5 communities and replacing them with 300,000 Jewish settlers. And this is a very detailed plan. I'm not going to go over it because it has been connected to the water channel between the Dead Sea, Red Sea to rescue the Dead Sea. Anyway, this is too much to talk about. The other 2 plans concerning Jerusalem, this is before building the walls, before we're talking about these things. Greater Jewish Jerusalem and disengagement plan. This is how they call it, disengagement plan. What brings the 4 plans together is the hypothesis that the main danger of Israel as a Jewish state in 2040 are the Palestinian demography. Palestine are getting so many children. So they will be majority in the next few decades. So they consider this, which is very racist, that this is the main threat for the Israeli future. Let's go by slides quickly on the second 2 projects, particularly from Jerusalem, what's happening in Jerusalem. The plan of Greater Jerusalem, which is now takes 10% of the West Bank, by the way, in 2 stages. The first stage is already finished, and the second stage is now going on. The first stage is bordering Greater Jerusalem. What do they mean by Greater Jerusalem? They border Jerusalem by 181 kilometers of walls, this black line that you see. And you see how the wall is going back from the old city, which is the yellow place in the middle, and this is the old municipal borders, like this, located here. The wall is going like the finger hands in the West Bank. It goes deeply south until Gush Etzion, block of settlement here, 40 kilometers. In the middle area between Bethlehem and Hebron, to annex all these blocks of colonies that they built since 1967. And it goes back again to Jerusalem, 5 kilometers, to take out these Palestinian communities outside the city. Then goes deep to the east until Jericho, to annex the block of Ma'ali Adumim, back again to Jerusalem, to take out Shafat refugee camp. Shafat refugee camp, then back to the north of Ramallah to get in Binyamin block and get out. What did it? I don't know. So what happened in this? It's one of the worst ethnic cleansing plans. The virgin of the 21st century, that they are not responsible over ethnic cleansing. But the fact is happening in Jerusalem, they get inside Jerusalem, 210,000 settlers became part of Jerusalem by this, inside the borders, and they get out 22 Palestinian villages. 225,000 Palestinians became not anymore part of their city. Isn't this ethnic cleansing? What do you call that? But it is not the end of the story. The end of the story go on. The story go on inside the city. What's happening? Massive Judaization, colonization is happening and pushing people outside their city. This is a map, a satellite or aerial picture for Jerusalem before '67. And the aim is to show the first colonization started during the war even. In 1967, where the bulldozers under the supervision of Yitzhak Rabin personally started in the old city demolishing 2 neighborhoods, historical buildings that goes back, some of them to over 1,000 years, to clean all this area for what so-called today the Jewish neighborhood. The Moroccan and the Sharaf dignity neighborhoods that has been eliminated from there. And they started massive taking over houses since then until now, bringing millions and millions of dollars from the United States, collecting it from outside beside the Israeli government budgets to take over the Palestinian houses. The other thing is just like how to take out the old city from the Palestinians. They create what they call it the Holy Basin, which is supposed to be cleaned from the Palestinians. And they start in 2008 in Silwan. I'm sure many of you have been in Silwan. The first thing they did, they changed the name of Silwan. You go there, you didn't find anymore on the road sign Silwan. You find City of David. Suddenly David had a city there called Silwan, and they want to bring back David to the city. That's where they start digging underground to find him there with archaeological sites and to eliminate the Palestinian existence and the history of existence there. The second area is Sheikh Jarrah. I don't know if you know, I mean, visiting also their big neighborhood, they are taking it over, place after place, house after house, and giving settlers. Immediately they're bringing settlers and putting them there. The other thing is what you are seeing here now going down in the map here. What's going down in the map is an intensive, ongoing project, some of them already finished, some of them not yet, that has Jewish identity, to eliminate the Palestinian, Islamic, Christian identity from the city and to give it the Jewish identity. This is sickness. One of the most important cities in the world to be destroyed this way for this craziness. You know what they want to do? I'm sure many of you have been to the Mount of Olives there. When you see the old city down like this. The thing that grabs your eyes immediately is the two domes, Al-Aqsa, Dome of the Rock, and the Holy Sepulchre, this triangle that shaped the city and the mosaic of the city for years, for centuries. In the middle of the triangle, they are going to build the biggest synagogue in the world. They allocate $17 million for that, with the biggest shrine ever. White shrine to dominate the whole scene in the whole city. To this extent. In order to push the people, the Palestinians outside the city, they start a new kind of colonization, which is building colonies in the middle of the inhabited, populated areas, like Silwan, Ras Al-Amud, Jabal al-Mukabbir, Al-Isawiyya, Al-Tur. This is to create like a kind of conflict that brought the military, the intelligence, I don't know what, and they gambled that this will push the Palestinians out of Jerusalem. The Jerusalemites has been exploding the revolution after revolution, and they have to read the history. Different intifadas started from Jerusalem and will continue and will start from Jerusalem again, and Jerusalemites is not going to leave their city. The other plan is the wall. It's important, I talk about the wall also in Jerusalem, but here I want to talk about when they start building the wall, after 2001, after the disengagement plan. In 2002, they invaded the West Bank. All of you know about the invasion. The massacre of Jenin, the destruction of the old city of Nablus, massacres in every Palestinian city of the West Bank. Siege on the West Bank, 630 checkpoints and roadblocks separated all places from each other, all cities, all villages. People under curfew, looking at the rubble of the bodies of their sons and under the rubble. And they start with 250 bulldozers in the northern areas, bulldozing massively the agricultural areas for what's so-called the wall. The military invasion, they called it that time in Kirjan, the preventive wall. And nobody understands what do they mean by that. Preventive wall. That's when they start building the walls and the West Bank. We have been the first in 2002, after 2 months, to hear about this and start calling each other from several cities, people who know each other from the first intifada, from organizations, what's going on there, until we hold the first meeting and we listen to the people. This is after 2-3 months. And I remember the first meeting we had the people in Qalqilia take 10 hours to go from Ramallah to Qalqilia, 10 hours. It's 40 minutes driving. Because you have to go over 6 barriers and roadblocks. And sometimes people bring donkeys to take us from place to another, to move to another checkpoint. And when we start the popular resistance that time, we didn't go back to Ramallah and all the activists from other places that we started this mobilization. We were staying with the people there. Months we stayed in the villages, having popular public meetings, forming the popular committees, going every morning at 6 o'clock to voice the bulldozers. At the time where we have bloodshed in the other Palestinian cities. We have Yasser Arafat has been blocked in the Muqata'a, and the tanks is there destroying and moving every day a few meters towards his place, and everybody is busy there, and they start this massacre of land and the third Nakba in the northern areas. I will talk in depth about the popular resistance, how it started, but I want to continue with the details of the plan to understand when we strategize, particularly for BDS, from where BDS started, and how we get to the conclusion that BDS is the solidarity that we need from you in order to stand up with us to end this catastrophe. So the wall has been designed in Oslo. Area, administrative divisions, area A and B and C. What Israel decides is like area C is for them. Area A and B for the Palestinians. What's area A and B? The built-up areas. The built-up, literally, the built-up areas where the houses of the Palestinians, in the cities and the villages. What's area C? Is all the Palestinian resources, all the Palestinian future. So that's where they decide to build the water and intensify the colonial project in the area C that they are using since then until now to create the new de factos, to eliminate the Palestinian existence in area C. And look how they have been, in 90s, have been preparing for this. In 94, immediately after signing Oslo, they built this massive network of bypass roads. Why they did it? And here, by the way, is the key to understand what's going on. And I will explain it in 2 minutes. During the first Intifada and before, the only roads for the colonies, the settlements in the West Bank is going through the Palestinian villages and cities. During the Intifada, it wasn't possible. Because every car, the settler car will be stoned. Every military car will be stoned. So what they were doing during the Intifada, 3-4 years, they were accompanying the settlers from their settlements to the Green Line and waiting them on the evening to come to bring them back to the settlements. If there is really willing for peace, they will not do this. And now we will not see any settlement. This network of bypass road, what they did, it takes from the West Bank 1.5% of the land. It slices the Palestinian areas from each other, destroy the historical roads, and make the settlers dominating the whole geographic areas in the West Bank. Isolating the Jordan Valley, we'll come to that. I will just explain about this because how we identify, how we understand the wall. The wall is the biggest Israeli construction project since 1967 that aims at controlling the Palestinian people once and for all, changing the geopolitical map of the West Bank to enable them for this controlling, and to destroy the Green Line and to create a new de facto borders on the land. By this, we consider Israel, and Israel, in fact, they consider or they announce, not publicly, that Oslo finished. No negotiations with Palestinians anymore. We will negotiate ourselves in the ground, creating what we want to take from the Palestinians and what solution should be, which is apartheid system. Fragmenting the Palestinian areas, as you see here. So this is, by the way, a kind of a map similar to what Yehud Olmert 2007 with Abu Mazen was negotiating. And still what they want is this ghetto map with Jordan Valley keep there in their hands, the old Jerusalem and the blocks of settlements that cutting vertically the West Bank. So this controlling system composed of 4 components. The wall is bordering the Palestinian places. The second is the apartheid road system. Even in South Africa, the worst days of the apartheid in South Africa, they didn't have roads for the blacks and roads for the whites. 1,400 kilometers of roads are now there on the ground for settlers. Alternative roads for the Palestinians, and they built on the expense of the Palestinians from international donations that comes to develop the municipalities. 48 bridges and tunnels is going to separate the 2 networks of roads inside the West Bank. We're not talking about West Bank, 48 Israeli Palestinian, inside the West Bank. This is to enable the settlers to continue their domination and enable the Palestinians to have viable life, viable state. We'll talk about it. The other one, the third element is what they call the terminals. Terminals, what does it mean, terminals? When you go to the airport or the borders, you see the terminals. But here there is 434 military checkpoints controlling the Palestinian movements, either between the ghettos or outside the land that isolated, or to the world under the Israeli control is going to be controlling the Palestinian life. And then they have like some complicated issue, which is the industrial zones, which is the World Bank is part of this plan. In 2004, they have been published their report talking about the Palestinians need 9 to 12 industrial zones to be enabled to sustain themselves and stop depending on the international donation. Townships for the South Africans. And they get to the model with Ares in Gaza that has been bombed later on. This is the apartheid road system. I just like want to, instead of keep talking about this, to show you kind of an example of the map. How the Palestinian life looks like in this ghetto system. To move from area to another, what they are going to do. So this is the cut-off in the West Bank from Kufr Qasim until Jordan Valley. You see the complex of settlements, bypass roads that you see here in the blue mainly. Salfid is the one to the south to down and Nablus up. Beside the 3 main ghettos, we are talking about at least 22 enclaves will be suffocated between settlements and the world. So in Salfid, about 8 villages became isolated. So how they are going to go to Salfid after this system finishes, which is Israel is accelerating now, building the system. So this is the old road, 10 minutes driving maximum between these villages and their city. In the new situation, they have to look for the terminals, for the bridges. So let's find the closest bridges to them. Masha, the first one. Habla Qalqiyya, the second one. Betli, Tul Karamnan is the third one. Bedfuri, Aqraba, Mandama, Salfid. This applies to anywhere in the West Bank, by the way. Just like put the map there and see how this village will be connected with it. This is what has been, now they want us to live there and to keep silent, to shut up and to accept this, otherwise they will be terrorists. The workers, terminals, what they call terminals, I just explained about it. The industrial zones are the same. Netanyahu told them we invest $17 billion in the West Bank industrial zones, so they can work in the settlements industrial zone. Anyway, this is, I don't have time to go in details on all these things, but I will come to the explanation that I give about the situation now. Is important to see the reaction of the Palestinians on the ground. You know, when I say since 100 years, the Palestinians standing up, resisting continuously, regardless the war with them or against them. They will keep standing in front of this big colonial powers, from the British moving until now. Is something make Palestine issue is one of the most just issues, an example of the resistance for peoples under oppression, under occupation, for their rights and for their human rights that they are fighting for. As I told you in the beginning, when they start building the wall, the first intifada in 6 months it became militarized. And believe me, so many world of us Palestinians there, and maybe so many people don't know. The intifada started in 2000, in September. From September 2000 until December 2000, 300 Palestinians killed. Demonstrations were massively to the confrontations. And when we go with 5,000 people to demonstration, we get back with 10 people killed. We go in their funeral the second day, we get back with another 5 killed. And this is how it was, you know. This massive killing, and for the first time in my life I saw helicopters shooting at us from the sky, the tear gas and the life bullets. And I saw the names, the snipers, whose stations is picking us, like, immediately when you see somebody is on a side and he's so active, so angry, you know that he's going to be killed now. This is the situation that, before militarizing it, but this is where it started, like the militant group responding, and then Hamas. Hamas, by the way, didn't interfere in the second intifada until 6 months, because they were analyzing it that this is a move from Yasser Arafat, to improve his negotiation situation. But later on, when we talk about all these thousands or hundreds of people killed, and this became massive in the streets, then had 15 Palestinians killed in Nazareth and inside 48, then they get on board. And this is happened what happened. The thing that has been credited for us, in the middle of this bloodshed, we were able to bring back the popular resistance, where people moved in demonstrations to the front in their land, where they're standing in front of the bulldozers and the military jeeps, and standing up with their bodies. It was not difficult, by the way. After all these massacres, to convince the people to stand up in front of the soldiers, they will tell you that they were telling us they will kill us. So we have to go in front. And we have to start encouraging our friends from the solidarity to come with us until the people after that move. So at that time, as I told you, we start have meetings in the villages, talk to them about the war, the danger of the war. We already did our research about that, and we understand that this is horrible. Not like any settlement project, any colonial project. They want to shape our future by what they are doing now. In the north, what distinguishes the north of the West Bank, that they are farmers, depending 100% of their land. That's why they had demonstration every day. From 6 o'clock in the morning, they were going to their fields. The ICJ, the International Court of Justice, will not happen without the sacrifices of these people. We lost 16 young people until 2005 in these peaceful demonstrations around the world. We were seeing the bulldozers moving from village to village. We tried to be ahead of the bulldozers, telling the people, hey, bulldozers coming, stand up. Again, we formed a popular committee. We started going there before the bulldozers. At the beginning, the Israelis were not interested in confrontation because they want this project to go smoothly. But when they saw the resistance, they start violently attacking the people. At that time, the world has been labeled us as a terrorists, especially after the September 11. Palestinians, nobody wants to listen to us. So how we can tell the world that what's going is horrible is not about any Palestinian terrorists. Look who is the terrorists. So we have to do a lot of efforts of documentation, for all these violations, to go out, to start giving out on media, and with the help of our friends and comrades from the solidarity that they were coming, starting to go out and spread the word, it became acceptable. I remember a time in 2003 when I go out, I have to have an Israeli sit beside me. I refuse this totally, no matter who is he. Even he is the most like any radical anti-Zionist to sit beside. Why? Because simply they want him to sit beside me to legitimize me. To make you believe me. Like, can he see if this Israeli is just like giving him approval, stamp? I am the one who, the occupation left scarves on his back. I am the one who can talk about that. I don't want anybody to legitimize me. This is a long struggle, generation after generation have been suffering, day and night, all over the world, from the expulsion to another. I don't want anyone to talk about me, or even to say to you, believe him, he's talking right, I am sitting here. This is racism. It's not acceptable. So we have to stand up against this until people understand what you are up to. So that's where we start the international outreach. When we saw what's happening in Palestine, and these walls, and these plans that I'm talking about, so how we can respond to this? We respond as a Palestinians with a popular resistance, but we believe strongly that we need you to stand up with us. We need people to say their word. Because Israel, that's what they are depending on. It's not on their own power, by the way. In the silence of the people outside, in faking the story of who's the victim and who's the victimized. This is how they are controlling, they are able to survive with their power that beside their power economically and politically that they have. How we can change this? We are trying, and we were trying for a long time, but now we have evidence in front of us. We have 9 meters wall, 800 kilometers along. We have a colonial apartheid system on the ground. This is apartheid, this is racism, and should be responded to by isolation. We shouldn't accept in the 21st century apartheid states. That's when we start calling for BDS. That time nobody wants to listen to us. Are you crazy? What are you talking about? BDS is not for you. To whom we are going to listen? PLO, to the Palestinian Authority, the Popular Movement, who? Where is your ANC? African National Congress. So after the ICJ, immediately we started massive debates, discussion within the Palestinian movements. Where is our ANC? What we are going to tell the world? On which basis we are based the call for BDS as its strategy that we are convinced that this is the only solidarity strategy that we want from the people. Do we want to base it on one-state solution, two-state solution? How we can convince the diaspora, Palestinian diaspora, that BDS represent them, or the Palestinians of 48, 67. So we have to bring something unify the Palestinian people after the fragmentation that happened in Oslo. Every Palestinian feels that this represents them. We have to protect the people who are coming in solidarity with us, and also unify them. Because if I base it on one state, many of you will tell me, go to hell, and I'm not supporting this. The same, I find people who are supporting one state, they will tell me, no, it's not interesting. So that's why we decide that BDS is a human rights movement, based in human rights and international resolutions. That's the BDS that are launching wars against it. They are launching wars against human rights, against international resolutions that's supposed to bring the minimum justice for the people. That's the war that we are facing now. So really, I'm so sad to see the whole debates about BDS, like anti-Semites, not anti-Semites. What are you talking about? We based in 3 main human rights that bring the Palestinian people together. End the occupation 67. Who's against ending the occupation? In this room. Who wants the occupation to continue? Any Palestinian who don't want to end the occupation? Any international who don't want to end the occupation? And this represents 38% of the Palestinian people. The second one, Palestinians that has been forgotten in 48, with all racism against them since 70 years until now, and they are still chased. We are asking to end the racial discrimination system against these people and ask that they will live in equality in the society. Is this a crime that we are calling for? Are we anti-Semite by this? And the third right, and they represent 12% of the Palestinian people. We want the right of return for the Palestinians in the refugee camps and the diaspora, that they are, since 70 years, they are suffering. From massacre after massacre, expulsion after expulsion, they are dying in the oceans and the seas, they are massacred in so many places around the world. They have the right to go back to their land. They have to have minimum security that you are enjoying. Is this a crime also? Anybody against this? It is the longest expulsion and refugee problem since the 20th century until now in the world. 6 million refugees outside now. How many do you have to reach until the world wake up? So this is what the media is about. That's what we are calling for. So that's why this is like a civil rights movement, human rights movement. We were like putting it in front of the world, and the reaction was great. Then we started the massive signing within the Palestinian society. It was so easy. We didn't sign individual organizations. We signed networks, movements, refugees representatives. We get to 171 signatures and the media support. And it started rolling. Gandhi says, like about particularly, you know, at the beginning, they notice you, but they ignore you. Then they fight you. And when they fight you, you will win. And I'm telling you, we are winning and we will win. Yasser Arafat stands in 1976 in front of the United Nations, and he told one significant word: don't drop the olive branch from my hand. And we are telling you now, the whole world, don't drop the human rights from our hands. We promise you, we will continue our struggle. We will not be defeated. We will win. We believe strongly in this. Regardless what's happening to the Palestinian people, inside, outside, division, not with division, we are still resisting. Generation after generation still resisting. And I'm not talking slogans. I want to remind you, 2015, in October, there was a huge uprising, intifada. Youth, the generation that has been born after Oslo, everybody undermined them, nobody believed in them. Neither Israel just ignored them. This is like the generation of the Facebook and I don't know what, the genes and the Twitters, and they are not any way loyal to their cause. Nor the Palestinians were caring about them. They stand up suddenly. I have been in 2 intifadas, and I have been with them daily on the checkpoints. I never saw a determination, a strong generation like this generation. Unfortunately, we failed them. We failed them. But this is not the end. Every day we have confrontations. Every day we have confrontations. One day it will become a comprehensive uprising. For one reason, we have a dignity. We will not accept to live as slaves in apartheid system. We have been sacrificing for peace. for a long time. I believe strongly that we can make it short with you. With you, the world, the people of conscience. We believe in the globalizing of the struggle of the people. We believe in the power of the people. So we're not afraid from government, EU, whatever they are doing, depend on us. South Africans has been winning when they stand up for their rights and when we all stand up with them. The same what we are demanding. If it happens in South Africa, why should it apply to Palestine? Believe me, you are a human being. What's in this veins is blood. So that's what brings us together. We are all human beings. I'm ready to start to stand up with any people around the world who has been oppressed. And I saw that in so many countries around the world. People who are suffering from occupation and colonization, you don't have to stand up and justify yourself or even explain. They understand immediately. Say, okay, we are standing. Our experience in Latin America is amazing. That's why. And the last thing, I don't want to keep talking. The last thing. You know that 2016, that the biggest war has been launched on the Middle East until now. And for us, it was like the barometer. Where are we going, and how BDS future will look like in this context. I forgot to tell you that we were all the time happy with the BDS Secretariat on Israel's reaction, Netanyahu's reaction particularly. We said, yeah, he did it, that's it, that's what we are waiting for. Believe me, if we pay millions of dollars to put the BDS on the tables of the parliaments and the presidents around the world, we were not able to do that. Thanks for Netanyahu and the Israeli people. So it's not always bad when they launch war against us. No. No, at all not. They put the BDS in the mainstream. They make it, everybody ask, what's this BDS? So this should lie on the Palestine issue. We shouldn't be afraid from this. And you in Europe have been did big achievements when you forced the European Union to stand up over 36 organizations and the intellectuals like authors, writers, trade unionists told the people, the whole European Union, you have to justify your position, you have to say your position from BDS. And they stand up and say this is right. Even Dutch governments, the most friendly country to Israel, they said in spite we are not supporting the BDS, but we can't say that people don't follow. This is basic human right. So we are winning. 2016, when we sat together at the end of this year, trying to evaluate, it is the best year since 2005 until now for BDS. I'm not exaggerating, this is by numbers. Biggest cartel companies has been disinvested from Israel. From Orange to Veolia, G4S, to so many. So I would like so much pressure to stop. So I think in the questions we will have time to expand with things that we can talk about. Thank you very, very much.
An beide. Unsere Referenten können Fragen gestellt werden. Und zwar haben wir hier zwei Saalmikrofone. Eines steht da und eines ist da hinten. Vielleicht kann man das ein bisschen näher ranholen oder so, dass mehr Personen dazukommen können. Stellen Sie sich an das Mikrofon, dann haben wir es leichter, die Reihenfolge einzuhalten und die Fragenden aufzufordern. Da muss ein
Ja, okay. Mein Name ist Eckhard Rost. Ich bin Mitglied bei BIP, bei dem Bündnis zur Beendigung der israelischen Besatzung. Thank you very much, Jamal. Shukran. This was really an impressive lecture that you gave us. I have just one question. I was very often in Palestine, and the last time I was together with the Freedom Theater, with the Freedom Bus, touring the Jordan Valley, and we have been to many places, for example, like Nabi Saleh and Al-Khair and South Hebron Hills. And we met people there who belong and believe in the popular resistance, but they don't believe, they are very disappointed of the PA. Please, can you tell me or tell us something about the role of the PA in the popular resistance?
Wir nehmen mehrere Fragen, wechseln zwischen den Mikrofonen. Da ist mindestens, wo ist es? Ja, bitte.
Ja, Ulrich Nitschke, ich bin auch Mitglied vom BIB und habe aber in Palästina für 4,5 Jahre gearbeitet im Auftrag der Deutschen Gesellschaft für internationale Entwicklung in der Kommunalentwicklung und habe sehr große Zweifel inzwischen. Ich bin seit Ende 2014 nicht mehr in Palästina, ob die Form, und das geht in die Frage von Eckhard Rost, ob die Form der Unterstützung auch der deutschen Bundesregierung in Richtung Staatsaufbau in Palästina, was wir in den letzten 15 Jahren praktiziert haben, überhaupt noch Sinn macht. Ich sage das sehr selbstkritisch auch an der Stelle, auch im Beisein meiner lieben Freundin Kulo Davis, die ja mit der Bundesregierung immer wieder zu diesem Thema auch im Gespräch ist. Sprich, wenn man diese Fakten, die unser Freund Jamal Juma'a hier aufzählt, dass es im Grunde Pläne gibt, seit den 50er, 60er Jahren die Westbank zu zerlegen. Ja, gestern hat die stellvertretende Außenministerin Tzipi Hollestein in der UN gesagt, ich verbiete euch, das weiter als Occupation zu bezeichnen. Man sollte doch bitte in der UN diesen Begriff Occupation darauf verzichten und lieber von den befreiten Gebieten Samaria und Judäa sprechen. Das hat sie in der UN gesagt. Also sprich, wenn das so weit geht, dass diese ja, fast Gehirnwäsche da fortgesetzt wird, welche Position muss denn eigentlich die Bundesregierung da einnehmen? Was erwarten wir da auch? Auch von, ich sage das jetzt mal, von einer Ex-Ministerin, Sozialministerin, die ich sehr schätze, Majida Al-Masri oder eben auch Khulud. Welche Position muss man denn eigentlich in 50 Jahren nach der Besatzung und während der Besatzung und der andauernden Besatzung heute von der Bundesregierung fordern? Wir haben Wahlen im September. Ich meine, wir müssten viel deutlicher werden, was die Anerkennung nicht nur des Staates anbelangt, sondern eben auch die Befreiung der besetzten Gebiete.
Gut, Dankeschön. Eine dritte Frage in dieser Runde. Bitte, Gabi.
I'm talking in English so that you can both understand. I would like, it's about to be a little bit like the same question like Eckhard Rost asked you. What about criticizing the problem between the political parties in Palestine? I mean, you criticize a lot Israel, the United States, the EU, but you didn't mention a lot about the problem that you have in a Palestinian, and I think we should talk about that also.
Gut, Jamal wird jetzt antworten und gleich kommt die zweite Runde dann. Oder, ja.
I'll do my best to speak in English. George will help me if I couldn't exactly answer exactly what you wanted to me answer about it. After 50 years of occupation, this military settlement occupation to the territories of Palestinian state, which is a state now in the UN, and after the failure of the peace process Oslo, as you know, because of the procedures and policies of Israel, and because of the unwill of the international community to oblige and to push on Israel, I think it's the time to go back to the UN and to the international community again, not to be under the umbrella of United States as the negotiations were before and going to be, according to the what we can read from Netanyahu wants, what Trump wants, and what they are pushing the Palestinians to come back to this negotiation within their conditions and their vision. Because of that, the only map we see now, as I said in my presentation, of course we the Palestinians will continue our public resistance and continue working with the world supporting us, and one of we consider BDS a tool and a kind of public resistance also inside Palestine and over the world, but for the solution to go back to the United Nations umbrella. The United Nations is the source of the Palestinian issue, the reference for the Palestinian issue. And they have the resolutions and international law within it, and under its umbrella we will go back to the solution for the Palestinian. We wanted to reach to an international conference, but to reach to this, of course we know that things must be, so many things must be changed. And we are sure, as my comrade Jamal said, that by continuing struggling and resistance with civil societies, with parliaments in the world, with free people all over the world, continuous struggling, and then push on their countries. What's wanted from you, those who are supporting our struggle and the human rights, to push on their countries, to push on their parliaments, to take their role in the UN, to take their role in their countries, and their new vision to the solution of the Palestinian issue, not the solution under the umbrella of United States, who was always pushing on all the countries to go within their own vision, and because of that, no solution, and Oslo failed. On this issue, I think, in this panel or in this road map of the road, with the people in their countries, pushing on their countries to take their decisions, right decisions, under the umbrella of UN. This needs to continuous work, continuous movements, conferences, and very clear position and very clear resolutions in their countries and in the UN. We think what happened in the UN during 2-3 years before, after we have been a member state in the UN, and so many decisions were taken, give a chance to continue our struggle to internalization our struggle and reach to this stage in the UN to push to go to an international conference. Sorry for my English. I tried.
You know, I want to answer the shortest question, about the German government. You know, I believe strongly, and I said it in the foreign ministry, that German government is the biggest enemy to Israel. It is really biggest enemy to Israel. I can't tell you why. No, because if I have a good friend and I saw him do something wrong, I tell stop him. The problem is that they are encouraging them and they give them nuclear submarines and they want to eliminate the occupation. There's no Palestinian people there. There is Palestinian people, whether you like or don't like, and Palestinians there, and they are going to continue their resistance and they are going to finish the apartheid system, whether you like it or don't like it. Be honest with yourself. And if you are talking about your responsibility of the Holocaust, you are responsible for another Holocaust that done many ways. Our suffering is ongoing, non-stop. You saw in the maps, our spaces has been shrinking from a whole historical Palestine now to less than 12%. What do you call this? So, it seems that the German government didn't learn from the experience. This must rise up highly, that crime that they did in the history, rise up highly the sense of the human being, sense of the human rights. And they should be fair in this. You didn't accept what you have been doing before decades ago. Don't accept this to happen to another people now.
We didn't get an answer for the questions about PA and
Just wait for me. Give me a few minutes. Oh my God.
sorry. I'm impatient.
Yeah, you can start.
Ich werde an der Reihe jetzt. Ich komme jetzt an.
What the Palestinian Authority is doing in popular resistance. We have a problem in this as a popular resistance movement, and people on the ground, they are very angry against the Palestinian Authority. Everybody is criticizing the people. Everybody is holding the responsibility of what's coming. What they are trying to do to be fair. Whenever there is a destruction of communities, they are there to give tents and to give humanitarian aids. But this is not what the people want. This is good and important. The people is looking for a strong political standing. The people want to see their leadership gambling on the power of their people. And that's what's not happening, unfortunately. The Palestinian Authority is gambling still and having the hope in the United Nations, in the United States, in Trump, in the European Union. But they didn't see their people. And their people is telling them, look at the history. Look at the history and read it very well. All the time the Palestinian people all the time stand up from the ashes. They are the one who brought the recognition for the Palestinian people, not the United Nations, not the United States, not the European Union. When they stand up in 60s and 70s and kidnapped planes and they were out going armed resistance, they have been get the recognition from the world. In the first Intifada, the Palestinians have been adopting the popular resistance massively. And they put example to the whole people under oppression of the power of the people. So they get massive recognition from around the world. So that's what we want our leadership to gamble on. Stop gambling with the United States. Stop gambling with the Arab countries in Saudi Arabia. This is not going to bring us just from disaster to another. And unfortunately, that's what they are doing now. But they will wake up. I'm sure they will wake up. And it's better for them to wake up before the Palestinian people wake them up. Another question about the political parties and the national movement. Yes. There is a big criticism and blame on our political parties, regardless from the left to the right. Clearly, we will put our heads in the sand if we didn't do that. If the leftist parties were enough responsible to stand up, unify themselves in front of the splitting, and form the third party, this will not continue.
About the role of PA, question, the role of PA to the public resistance. PA came from Oslo Agreement. Till now, the vision for the solution is still under the influence of negotiation, according to Oslo. Even they say, and even the president of Mazen, the United Nations say that Oslo failed in a way, but he is still gambling on negotiation within the same vision and under the USA umbrella. Till now, they think, and he thinks, and the third thinks, that this is the only way possible for Palestinians to get their rights. This is a vision. It's a vision, only the negotiations. His vision, not our vision. His vision. And since Oslo is a problem, it's a, we can say vertical problem in the Palestinian community about Oslo and the future of Oslo. From the beginning, we saw that Oslo will reach to this end, because Oslo was not clear about where it will end, what will happen after Oslo, especially when they consider the land, because it's the issue of land, ABC and not occupied. It's not occupied because of this conflict of landed territories. It was in the Oslo Agreement, and not occupied territories. And they didn't stop the building settlements all the time, from Oslo till now. They refused to stop the settlements, and we continue negotiations. Till now. It's not official, but till now. Because of that, the vision for the public resistance is taken for a while in some cases, but not the strategic vision and the strategy plan, new plan for the Palestinians to get to end occupation and to to make the occupation pay the cost of its occupation. This will never be except with continuous resistance. We are talking about public resistance these days. Continuous public resistance to okay. This is the problem.
Please answer shortly the question.
Okay.
Because we have enough people they want to ask.
Ja, wir müssen. Wir müssen jetzt.
But for people who's asking, don't ask questions that needs like 2 hours answer. This is a condition of the other condition for us.
Wir haben eigentlich nur noch bis 1 Uhr Zeit und es sind 10 Minuten. Ich weiß nicht, wie viele von den Fragen wir jetzt noch nehmen können, aber bevor ich zu lange spreche, bitte stellen Sie Ihre Frage, Sie sind dran, dann kommen Sie.
Ich bin Gertrud Rede vom Palästina-Arbeitskreis im Nürnberger Evangelischen Forum für den Frieden und ich habe eine Frage an beide Referenten. Sie haben beide von der Notwendigkeit gesprochen, dass sich die Palästinenser einigen müssen. Und ich nehme an, Sie haben gemeint, Fatah und Hamas und es muss gemeinsame Wahlen geben. Im letzten Jahr hatten wir Helga Baumgarten bei uns von der Universität Birzeit und die sagte uns, sobald irgendeine Chance besteht, dass sich die beiden einigen, sagt Netanyahu zu Abbas, wir kürzen dir deine Finanzen. Und damit ist wieder alles gestorben. Und sehen Sie doch irgendeine Chance, dass da wirklich was passieren kann und gemeinsame Wahlen entstehen können. Danke schön.
Danke. Ich bin Gerd Krell, ich bin Politikwissenschaftler und habe mich länger mit dem Nahostkonflikt beschäftigt. Ich war sehr beeindruckt von den beiden Referaten, vor allem von dem Vortrag von Jamal Juma'a, den ich gerne auch kopiert bekommen würde, wenn das irgendwie geht. Ich habe aufgrund dieses Vortrags beschlossen, Mitglied bei BIB zu werden. Ich war nicht... Trotzdem war ich nicht mit allem einverstanden, es geht ganz schnell. Ich hätte nicht die Nürnberger Gesetze erwähnt, ich fand, das war nicht berechtigt. Es wird dort niemand wegen Rassenschande durchs Dorf getrieben. Das war nicht berechtfertigt, das ist auch unklug. Ich finde, die Besatzung ist schlimm genug, ist eine Barbarei, eine Katastrophe. Wir brauchen aber nicht die Vergleiche mit den Nazis, sondern passender wären hier die Vergleiche, die Analogien zum westlichen Kolonialismus. Zweiter Punkt, mit dem ich nicht einverstanden war. Jamal Juma'a hat gesagt, 1993 bei Oslo seien alle Palästinenser begeistert und für den Frieden gewesen. Das stimmt leider nicht. Es hat eine heftige und gewalttätige Opposition gegeben, die dazu beigetragen hat, dass die israelische Linke eingegangen ist. Von meinen 2 Fragen stelle ich eine zurück, ich komme sofort.
Haben Sie eine Frage?
Ja, Sie kommen.
Wir wollten kein Chor aufeinander fragen.
Es war kein Chor-Referat, es waren 2 Anmerkungen. Jetzt
ja gut, wir wollten auch nicht unbedingt die Anmerkung, wir möchten fragen.
Ich finde, das ist wichtig, wenn hier ein Journalist ist und hört Nürnberger Gesetze, dann wissen Sie, was morgen gezeigt wird. Jamal Juma'a, wie viele Flüchtlinge?
Speak slowly.
How many? Wie viele Flüchtlinge, wir einschließlich ihrer Nachkommen, wollen wirklich zurück? Ich habe Studien gelesen, es sind 20%. Das fände ich noch handelbar. Was wir von Israel verlangen sollten, ist eine Apology, das wird in einem endgültigen Friedensvertrag hoffentlich auch kommen. Eine Entschuldigung für die Vertreibung, Kompensationen, Moment, ich bin gleich fertig. Aber sie werden nicht 6 Millionen Palästinenser aufnehmen in ihrem Kernland. Das wird nicht funktionieren und das wird genau dasjenige sein, mit dem sie solche... Die Frage ist, wie viele wirklich zurückkommen.
Ich fühle mich verpflichtet, als Palästinenser ein paar Dinge zu korrigieren. Es ist sehr wichtig, über die israelische Besatzung eines Teils von Palästina zu sprechen. Es ist aber falsch, das Problem auf die besetzten Gebieten vom Jahr 1967 das Problem zu beschränken. Die Zionisten haben die Besatzung Palästina im Jahr 1967 vollendet und damit nicht begonnen. Die Nakba im Jahr 1948 war nicht nur mit der Tragödie der über 800.000 vertriebenen Palästinenser verbunden, sondern auch mit militärischen Besatzung ihres Landes. Was bedeutet das für uns Palästinenser? Was machen wir? Das ganze historische Palästina befindet sich heute unter Kontrolle und Besatzung eines kolonialen, rassistischen Apartheidssystems, das abgeschafft werden muss, wie in dem ehemaligen Apartheidssystem in Südafrika. Die Lösung des Problems soll das ganze Land umfassen und nicht über Teile. Okay, danke.
Warte mal, ich glaube, Sie antworten erst.
I don't know how can I be sure. So I really feel sad when somebody questions how many refugees want to go back to their homelands. You want to keep seeing them dying in the Mediterranean and in the oceans, massacred in the refugee camps around the world. Isn't this human beings that are living generation after generation wait for your conscious victory for them? And you know, the most important out of this, and with the key solution for all this, is that Israel recognized their responsibility over the catastrophe of the Palestinians. If they do that, it means that we are starting what so-called reconciliation. We can't reconcile with somebody who didn't still acknowledge his responsibility over our catastrophe. When they acknowledge the responsibility of our refugees problem, then it's up to the refugees to decide who's going to come back or not to come back. You can't categorize them. You are allowed and you are not allowed. This is a right, a solid right, and a human being a right for someone who's expelled, uprooted from Islam to go back to his homeland. So getting us in this percentage who want to go, how many percent is humiliating, believe me. It's not acceptable at all. Recognize their right to return first. Then give the choice for them. And they have to be compensated from 7 decades of suffering before them. So let's deal with the roots of the problem. Don't try to justify or try to find a solution on the surface. If you want to have a real solution that lasts forever. And you brought South Africans. South African without the reconciliation will never happen if they didn't recognize and they say, here we are. And they have an amazing leader who he put and start the process of reconciliation. The main important thing other than that is to end the settler colonial project. Zionism as a colonialism, it must be ended. This is the solution. When the aim is just to keep the majority of ethnicity on the land, this is a reason to keep ethnic cleansing for other ethnicities. Stop this. Look at us eye to eye, equals, human beings, have the right. And Palestine, believe me, it has space for everybody. And for half of the Germans if they want to come there. The most important, we say in Arabic, the small house can take like lots of friends. But we need to stop this enmity. And as I told you, stopping this enmity, give me back our rights and tell me that I'm sorry. Let's talk how we can live together. This is what the Palestinians want, from the very beginning until now.
About the Palestinian situation, initial Palestinian situation and the division, the problem of Hamas, which has been 10 years. Yes, it's a real problem. Yes, it's a real problem. And all this makes all the Palestinian people worried, because all Palestinian people want them to unite, and it's a must to continue our struggle, our resistance for ending occupation. It's a must. It should be solved. We have many conferences, many agreements, and many meetings, and we know what's the road, where to go in it, for reunite our political regime. But to be frank, it's still now. We are we should daily work for it. Other parties, civil societies, all the people who are working and pushing and making negotiations with both of them. But really, we are under the influence of the region. The region, even Israel, even America, push on this issue. When we are already going to reach to an agreement, in some points, so many interferes. This is sad things to say that such interferes affects our unity, because all of us knows that it's a must. It should finish, and we should finish and end the division between Palestinians and between Palestinian parties, and to look for what's happening to Gaza under the situation of the siege and the situation of Hamas procedures also, to be frank in this issue. So, for us, the Palestinian people will go forward, and our parties, civil societies, on ending this division, and we are sure that we will end it. They will come. We hope it will not be far, because it's a condition also for all over the world to go on a real peace process under the umbrella of UN and the Conference of International Community and UN.
I want just to have just a comment on this. When we split it as a Palestinians, when there is something to fight for, like to fight against some interests, when we start to move ourselves from the national liberation movement to a semi-state, that's when the conflict started. That has been divided us in all ways. So when we have the courage as a Palestinians to sit together and to evaluate Oslo, and to get out and discuss together what's the strategies to change the situation and to confront it, then the whole splitting will be ended. I don't think that we are, there's something abnormal here. We have legislative council, we have presidents, we have police, we have ministries, and we are under occupation. If our presidents want to move from his headquarters outside Ramallah, he needs to take a permission from the Israeli soldier. This is the reality. This is true. And this shouldn't continue. This is, to our dignity, we shouldn't accept this. To that, we need to sit together and to evaluate where are we going and how this should go, and we should put an end to this. Get back as a national liberation movement.
Stelle darauf aufmerksam gemacht, dass wir unserem Programm folgen müssen und wir sind schon verspätet gegenüber dem Programm. Ich habe gehört, dass für das Panel heute Abend, also heute Nachmittag zum Ende dieser Veranstaltung, man Fragen schriftlich aufschreiben kann und hier hinlegen kann, die dann beim Panel beantwortet werden, weil das Panel nicht Fragen des Publikums entgegennimmt. Wäre das ein Kompromiss, dass diejenigen, die jetzt was fragen wollen, das noch tun könnten und wir die Fragen nicht dran nehmen? Also Mohammed ist der Einzige, der eine Frage stellen darf jetzt.
Also im Prinzip so, als Palästinenser, ich lebe schon lange hier in Deutschland, ich kenne die deutsche Politik auswendig. So, und das finde ich, das ist der größte Fehler, was ein Palästinenser, egal wer, unser Problem mit dem Problem in Südafrika vergleicht. Das ist für mich kein Vergleich. Südafrika war ein weißes Regime, hat das Land beherrscht. Er hat nicht zu den Schwarzen gesagt, raus, wir bringen nur Weiße. Unser Problem ist das genau das Gegenteil. Die Israelis haben das Land geschenkt bekommen von den Engländern, sind wir gekommen, haben den Schaukrieg von 1948. So, dann haben die Palästinenser rausgeschmissen, ermordet und das wissen wir, das ist Zerstörung und alles. Deswegen, also das ist kein Vergleich. Der zweite Punkt, da bin ich fertig auch, unsere Autonomiebehörde. Für mich, das sind einfach Soldaten für das israelische Regime. Das heißt, die Besatzung kostet Israel ist nicht wie früher, bevor die palästinensische Autonomiebehörde gekommen ist. Deswegen am besten, wenn die palästinensische Autonomiebehörde wieder verschwindet, wo die hergekommen ist. Danke.